All right, we're on the storm watch on this Friday, everybody, as we're monitoring a potential nor'easter making its way up the coastline. It's not really one of those classic nor'easters. We'll talk about that in a moment, but it is going to bring some rain and wind our way. Speaking of which, we never did talk about this, of course, that happened earlier this week. We've been off the air for a few days, so a little recap for you for our very rare tornado outbreak that did move through the area back on Tuesday. And we had, of course, so it ended up being an EF0 around North Providence, Rhode Island, and also Lincoln, Rhode Island towards Twin River, and we think that may have been the same cell that touched down in Norton. And of course, that was an EF1 by that time with winds of 90 to 95 miles per hour, doing some damage there. We also had a very impressive water spout down near the Bourne Bridge and the Bourne Rotary, and that may or may not have touched down. It was not confirmed, but certainly an impressive system, again, back on October 23rd. Fast forward, and now we're going to talk about the weather this weekend. Speaking of this weekend, you can check out tomorrow morning our friends over at 4 Deep Sports Talk. They'll be giving you some of the high school football playoff information. So you'll want to tune into that. It might be a good morning to do so because it's going to be a bit rainy and windy here throughout most of southern New England. Weather Service has put some watches and warnings in effect. We have high wind watches now in effect for most of the coastal waters and storm warnings out over the ocean. And it's all because this system that is now making its way through the mid-Atlantic states. There's some pretty decent rains, as a matter of fact, moving into North Carolina and Virginia right now, and a very impressive upper level system that I think will remain the primary player. That's why this will not be a true classic nor'easter. Most of this energy is going to actually move to the west of our area tomorrow afternoon. Here you can see that rain moving its way through lunchtime on this Friday. Again, some downpours covering most of the state of Virginia and North Carolina, and you can see it looks like it's right on our doorstep, but actually there's a lot of dry air still over New England, so it's going to take some time for the air to saturate, but once it does, after midnight, we will also see some of this rain and wind coming in. As far as rainfall potential, generally a swath of 1 to 2 inches is possible as we move over to the Bridgewater area, a little bit less off to our north and west, and there could be some isolated 3-inch amounts as we get closer to the coastline. The winds will also be picking up along the waters. It could gust as high as 50 to 60 miles per hour down towards the outer Cape. For Bridgewater, I think generally 30, 35 mile per hour wind gusts is about what we'll see here. Tomorrow afternoon, this front is going to lift north as the low moves to our west, and so we will be in the warm sector, believe it or not, for a brief period of time. And because of that, I think temperatures could jump a bit. Tonight, we'll have the calm before the storm, if you will. Lows generally around 40 degrees, and some showers coming in after midnight. Those will get steadier and heavier towards dawn. Now, tomorrow, that front is going to eventually lift to our north, so Bridgewater could actually see highs in the mid to upper 50s while we stay in the 40s and even low 40s to our north and west. Sunday, pretty fun event here. We have our Halloween touch-a-truck over at Sullivan Tire. I do think most of the rain will be gone by Sunday morning, but it will still be breezy. Keep that in mind. Highs will be up near 60 degrees, but it'll feel a bit cooler with that gusty wind. We'll have another system approaching here Monday. I think that'll be interesting. You'll have to keep an eye on that. Kind of monitor that over the weekend. Could get interesting here Monday afternoon, and that'll clear out. And for Halloween right now, it looks pretty nice. Dry conditions and temps near 60.